In this video, I'm going to be doing a mini analysis on a recent solo serving session. So in that session, I had 3 different rackets and 2 of them had the same string, which was Silinko Outlast 17, and one of them had Wilson Revolve 15. But I'll go into more detail as we touch on those setups. So yeah, let's get into the video. I'm going to start off with the Prince Vortex, and that is the racket with Wilson Revolve 15. And we practiced a little bit on the ad side, so I had a few cones out wide on the ad side, and I mixed up the serves flat and a few kick serves. So after it was only a short session, I would say 5 to 10 minutes of serving with a variety of different serves, I'd say that the main positives from this setup were, to be honest, there were none. It was pretty poor. I've got a bunch of notes here and I've just gone through them. There aren't any positives. I mean, the strings just felt too gummy, and when I say that, they felt like they moved too much. They didn't spring back, and that causes a lack of directional control, a lack of trajectory control, and we're off to a poor start, a rough start straight away when that is the case, because if I can't put the ball where I want to, then it doesn't matter how fast I'm swinging, how much spin I'm putting on the ball, how quick I'm serving. The ball's just not going to go where I want. So a really poor start. I'm not happy with this setup at all. And I did put an O dampener to try and control that movement, and it helped hardly any, maybe like 1 or 2%. I think that the high vibration frequency of this racket, which was measured at 148.5 hertz, I feel like that might exacerbate the string movement, the natural string movement of Wilson Revolve 15. I mean, the string has a deflection of 32.4, which is, it's not extremely high, slightly above average, I would say, but it's not extremely high. But combined with the Prince Vortex and the high vibration frequency, I just got a feeling that it exacerbated the problem of too high a string movement, and as a result, I couldn't really get the directional control I was after. But yeah, so onto the kick serves. They were a little bit better than the flat serves, but still I'm not happy with it, so I won't be taking this any further. The thing is, with this racket, it's got a very high shot speed recorded. If I just pull it up here, it's 66.7 miles an hour. That is very high. I think that's higher than even some of the Babolat Pure Drives I've tested. I'm talking about the Pure Drive Rodics that are extended. This one was measured at an even higher shot speed. So maybe if I revisit this racket at a future date and try to use a string that could utilize that high shot speed and maybe make the flat serve a weapon, I feel like that could be something that people would be interested in, and players could thrive on, especially players with big first serves. So yeah, that is the one thing that caught my eye out of this test, but overall it was poor. I won't be revisiting this particular setup, but maybe in future with a different string I may be able to get it to work. The next racket I'm going to touch on is the Head Prestige Mid. It is the 93 square inch head, and in it I've got Silinko Outlast 17. So this string is a lot more suited to controlling the trajectory of the ball. The stiffness is a lot higher and you feel it, so without a dampener you can feel that shock going through your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, but that's just part of the setup, is how it is sometimes. I didn't use a dampener at first, and you can tell that the shot speed was a lot less. That string really does deform the ball on contact. You can hear it as it hits the strings, and when that happens, when the ball deforms on contact as much as it does on this string, it loses a lot of shot speed and you feel it. But the deflection at 31.8 millimeters, there's still enough movement there without a dampener to feel as if there isn't a excellent level of control. It wasn't terrible. I don't want to insult it. I mean, I've just used a racket with terrible deflection, but this was about average, I would say. But because I've used setups in the past that were incredible in terms of trajectory and height control, that weighs on my mind when looking at setups like this. So it wasn't too bad, but there's definitely improvement that could be made. And so I did attempt to make that improvement. I put the O dampener again on this setup, and I think it went up a level. Definitely level. I'm just going to rephrase that. Actually, I don't think, I know it went up a level in terms of height control, in terms of length control, directional control. I put a few cones out in the corner, you'll see in the video, and I just felt like I was getting closer and closer on average with the dampener as opposed to without the dampener. So yeah, it does increase the shot speed a little, and I guess my percentage for the first serves, the flat serves, goes down as a result. But I think the pros outweigh the cons, so yeah, bear that in mind. The kick serve, again, really good control. Got decent levels of spin because the racket is on the heavier side, and that does weigh on the amount of spin I could impart as opposed to other lighter rackets. But it's not terrible. I could still get the ball to kick off of the surface, even on the AstroTurf, and there was a little bit of movement in the air, although it probably was wind assisted. It was a very windy day when I did these tests. But yeah, actually I think I'm going to pull up the swing speed for this racket. Okay, so I pulled up the shot speed for the Prestige Mid 2018, and the shot speed, not the shot speed, the swing speed was recorded at 49.4 miles an hour in comparison to the Vortex, which was 49.7 miles an hour. So I did feel like the kick serves on the Vortex, despite the setup being pretty terrible, they weren't too bad, and that might be because of the higher swing speed on the Vortex. But even with this racket, I still felt like I could get a little bit of movement through the air, nothing extravagant, but I wouldn't say it was terrible. So yeah, a big improvement on the Vortex, this one overall, which is the Head Prestige Mid 2018 with Solinco Outlast 17 as the strings. And so I'm going to move on to the final setup of this little mini test, and it is the Wilson KPro Tour. And the racket's a little bit different to what I've been using in the past. I'll highlight a few stats from it that you might find interesting. It's just a regular length racket, 27 inches, head size is 96. The static weight is 321. The swing weight is 286, so very low in comparison to the actual weight. We've got a twist weight of 11 and a lower vibration frequency of 140.8 hertz. So quite different to the previous two rackets that I was testing. And you could feel it out on court. By far, I felt like this was the most effective racket when serving out wide, flat, or even serving kick serves. The directional control was by far the best, and I tested both with the dampener and without a dampener. Of course, with the dampener it was even more effective in terms of directional and height control, and so I preferred the setup with the dampener in this particular case. The shot speed recorded on the racket recommender is 64.8 miles an hour, so even with the dampener increasing that shot speed a little bit, because we got a platform that's quite low at 64.8, I didn't really feel as if my percentage decreased that much. And so we've got a racket that is awesome in terms of length control and awesome in terms of directional control. It's really able to combine those two very important factors for the flat serve. And I'm going to move on to the kick serve. Again, excellent, by far the best out of all three setups, by far the most movement of all three setups. And I'm going to look at the swing speed here that was recorded on the racket recommender. This was 50.9 miles an hour, so a huge jump, a huge increase on both the Prestige Mid and the Prince Vortex. And of course I felt that out on court. I could see a few of my kick serves jumping abnormally. That's not something I would usually be able to do, if ever. I would have to hit a bad patch off of the surface to get the ball to jump like that. Or perhaps I did. Perhaps I did. But on average, I could see the movement was a lot more extravagant through the air, and the kick off of the surface was a lot more noticeable in terms of whether I'd be able to get the ball to maybe change direction off of the surface, or just in terms of bounce height. So those are really important, especially when delivering effective kick serves. So yeah, the KPro Tour, a really interesting racket, especially with these strings. So that brings me to the end of this little mini analysis. In terms of ranking, the Vortex with a roll 15 was third by a long shot. Unfortunately, the Head Prestige Mid Outlast 17 came in at second. Good, but not excellent. I would say just above average, actually. I think I'm going a bit too far saying it was good. Above average. And the setup that I could definitely say was good was the KPro Tour with the Outlast 17. Excellent direction control, length control, height control, swing speeds, awesome. And the kick serve alongside that, really good. So flat serve and kick serves from the ad side were excellent. I have not tested any of these setups on the juice side. I haven't even tested this on the ad side, but down the tee or body serves. I just did those two particular serves, kick serves from the ad side and flat serves from the ad side out wide. So yeah, an interesting little analysis. I'll probably do a few more of these in the future, maybe try and get a variety of setups. So once we can identify patterns in terms of what we think makes an effective serving setup, and then from there we'll have a platform to work with where we can take this further and hopefully get our serves going in the right direction. And I really believe we can do so. We've already identified a couple of rackets that aren't quite as effective as we would like, and we've identified a setup that is definitely something that we can work with. So we'll look at that, we'll bear that in mind in future, and we'll try and work off of that, maybe have a more in-depth look at some of the statistics, some of the stats that are prevalent across all effective serving setups, and when looking to improve on them, we'll bear that in mind. We'll make sure that that is the focus. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. I am going to put the actual solo session on the end of this video, so it's going to continue after this little talk, and if you want to stick around to watch it, that's up to you, and you'll see the actual experiment take place, and what I was talking about in this video. Maybe if you can add something onto it, that would be great, or just sit back and enjoy the ambience. It's all up to you. But yeah, that's the end of this particular mini analysis. I want to thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy it, it might be worth checking out the other videos on this channel, and staying tuned for future ones that I've got coming up soon. So until then, hopefully see you all there, and everyone, take care.
same string. later, Ben.